This week video is about another Turkic nomadic tribe, Oghuz. Oghuz were the first Turks to adopt Islam. They had their own writing, which was based on the Syriac parchment palimpsest, which they used until the 13th century. They created all written documents in their own language. The Oghuz had a great influence on the development of Turkic culture. Some researchers believe that the word Oghuz comes from the word ok, arrow, or tribe, and uz is added as a suffix of plurality, that is, many arrows or many tribes. Another version says that Oghuz is an ox or a bull, or in the ancient Turkic language, Oghuz meant famous or great. According to the legend written in Oghuzname, a religious book, the great ancestor Oghuz Khan had 6 sons and 21 grandsons. The 3 eldest sons started 12 Buzuki tribes. The 3 youngest sons were the ancestors of 12 Uchuk tribes. Historians began to mention the Oghuz in the 9th and 10th centuries. In 892, Al-Baladhuri mentioned the Oghuz. In the 10th century, the traveler Al-Masudi mentioned them in his notes. It was believed that the Oghuz lived in the lands around the Aral Sea, but modern historical and archaeological materials indicate that the original habitat was in western Syriac or Jetu-Su. Another assumption is made that the Oghuz existed on the Balik River in ancient times. But then, in the second half of the first millennium, they traveled from the territory of southern Siberia and Altai to the lower Sirdarya River. From Syriac, they migrated west and settled in the steppes of the Aral Sea region. There, they created a state or a confederation with the capital in Janakent. The head of the state was called Yagbu. This title was initially lower than Khan or Kagan, but over the time acquired the same status. Power was transferred within the ruling family, but not by inheritance from father to son, but by choice among worthy people. So it was so-called military democracy. In the 9th century, the Khazar Khaganate entered into an alliance with Oghuz. Together, they defeated the Pechenegs in 898. Some Pechenegs became part of the Oghuz tribes and got assimilated. The Turkic-speaking tribes were called Oghuz, and part of the Oghuz mixed with Iranian-speaking population were called Turkmens. After the defeat, most of the Pechenegs went west, and the Oghuz approached the Khazar Khaganate. In 965, an alliance was concluded between the Oghuz Yagbu and the Kievan prince Svetoslav against the Khazars, which resulted in the defeat of the Khazars Khaganate. The Oghuz moved west, occupying trade routes, which contributed to the strengthening of the state. In the 10th century, part of the Oghuz migrated to the southeast, where they converted to Islam and were hired for military service by local rulers, the Samanids. At the end of the 10th century, a split occurred between the Oghuz. Bey Seljuk, who had previously been in the service of the Khazar Khaganate, with his family and allies moved south to the city of Gent, where he converted to Islam. Yagbu troops expelled his descendants from the state. They went south to the Ghaznavid state, but this caused the aggression of the latter. There was nowhere else to go, and the Seljuks, as they were now called, won a series of victories and created a large empire. So, 2 new states were created: Seljuk state in modern Turkmenistan and Ghaznavid state in modern Afghanistan. The Oghuz power was greatly weakened by this. It experienced an attack by Ghaznavids, an invasion by Kipchak's tribes, and in 1042, the grandson of Seljuk Sultan Dokhrulbek captured and beheaded Shah Malik, who was the last of Yaqub. From that time on, the Oghuz as a single political entity no longer existed. The Oghuz split into two groups. One group penetrated into the territory of modern Turkmenistan, as I mentioned above, and the other one into the northern Black Sea region. There, one part of the Oghuz remained on the Dnieper and Danube rivers under the protection of Kiev, while the other ended up within Byzantine Empire. Here they divided again. One part remained under the protection of Byzantine, and the other returned to the Kiev princes. Thus, the history of one of the largest medieval alliances of the Turks ended up, and the history of new peoples began. It is believed that Oghuz are the ancestors of modern Turkmen, Azerbaijanis, and Turks. Thank you for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!